Hi there, I'm Vincent Boss and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing This Blows Your Ex's Mind. I provide audio coaching for breakup recovery, trying to get an ex back, attracting someone new, and life coaching. Visit www.dateme.tips for more details. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. Check out my socials for extra content. The links are in the description. So now let's get back into today's podcast. And today we are discussing This Blows Your Ex's Mind. So if you have been dumped and want to try to get your ex back, you need to know what things will affect them for good and for bad. In today's podcast, I'll be discussing 3 things that will blow your ex's mind. So let's get straight into this, and point number 1 is that you don't get it. Being broken up with can be a shocking experience and often leaves you wanting to talk things through. But your ex is unlikely to want to do this. If you keep pushing them to talk, it will often blow their mind that you aren't listening to them. And this is where dumpers and dumpees often have a huge communication breakdown. Now, as a dumpee, you have been dumped, you may feel blindsided, you are likely feeling shocked and upset. So, it's understandable for you as a dumpee to want to talk things through. You want to speak about things, you want to try and clear the air, and also, you likely want to try and get your ex back. Now, your ex-dumper's perspective, well, they've taken action on something that they felt was necessary. They have perhaps thought about this for weeks, if not months. They've come to a decision, they've taken action, the breakup has been finalised. In their mind, everything has been done. Everything is settled. They want to move on with their life, and they want you to move on with yours. So this is where we see the breakdown in communication. The dumpee wants to speak about it. The dumper feels that everything has been said, even if it's actually been very little. Sometimes a dumper won't say anything at all, and they literally ghost their now dumpee. But even if the dumper did acknowledge the dumpee by having a conversation at the time of the breakup, this is where it will likely end in their mind. They don't want to continue this. They don't want to speak things through a few days later, let alone a few weeks later. Whereas you as a dumpee, you're probably thinking, okay, we had this quote-unquote breakup chat, you've broken up with me, but I want to speak about more things. I don't feel everything was said. I never got my point across. You aren't listening to me. That's what dumpees are often thinking. You are not listening to me, because if you were, we would be back together. In fact, we would never have broken up. But unfortunately, it's the dumper who believes that you aren't listening to them and that you don't get it. This is the problem. This is what blows your ex's mind in point number 1, because they don't see your point of view, just as you dumpees don't see their point of view. Now you might say, well, I do see my ex's point of view. I understand their point of view. Well, you don't. If you did, then you wouldn't be begging, pleading, and trying to overly reason with them. You wouldn't want to talk about this time and time again, because if you understood their point of view, then you wouldn't feel you need to keep talking to them about it. Of course, it's more complicated than that. Of course, it's the subconscious, if not actual conscious thought that you as a dumpee have, that you want to persuade your ex to come back to you. You want to show them the light. You want to explain ABC why you should never have broken up. So in your mind, it makes perfect sense. You're frustrated for why they can't see what you see. You see a relationship which is exciting, fulfilling, and everlasting, but they don't. Now, unfortunately for you dumpees, your ex-dumper is very much in their mindset thinking, everything has been said, everything is done, I want to move on, I want you to move on, we don't need to speak again. And the problem for a dumpee is that when the dumper puts their foot down, there is very little the dumpee can do in that regard. If you want to get your ex back, of course there are strategies that you can implement, but they don't include trying to persuade your ex. And in essence, this is the illusion of action, of where a dumpee feels, I need to take action. I need to take the action of speaking with my ex to persuade them to come back to me. Well, the action you actually need to take is nothing along those lines. That's why it's the illusion of action that you think is going to bring you success, and it isn't. So just as it blows your mind that your ex-dumper can't see how great a couple you were, and that they can't see that you two being apart is a bad thing. That blows your mind. Well, it blows your ex-dumper's mind, but you don't see it from their perspective, that you don't understand, that you aren't listening, and that you just don't get it, that you two are no longer compatible. So now let's get into point number 2 and the second point of today's podcast. Please like this video if you're watching on YouTube, and if you have the new hype feature, please hype this video as well. If you like my content, subscribe to the channel to keep updated. And point number 2 is that you tell their secrets. Now listen, I do have something more positive to say in point number 3, so please keep listening. But unfortunately, point number 2 is another negative thing which blows your ex's mind, and that is if you tell their secrets. Now after you've been dumped, you are likely feeling very negative feelings, but they can also be confusing. On one hand, you want your ex back. On one hand, you love them more than you ever did before. But on the other hand, you're frustrated, you're angry, and you're feeling bitter. Now, if you tread into this path of destruction, you might unfortunately start telling people your ex's secrets. When you feel that frustration build, when you feel that bitterness bubbling up inside of you, one of the things you could do to release those thoughts and those feelings is to tell people and spread the word of the secrets of your ex. Now, this is not a good idea. Not only is it immoral, it might actually be illegal, depending on what exactly you are doing and where exactly you live and the law of your land. But even if it's not illegal, it's certainly not a good thing to be doing. If you want to get your ex back, it's probably the worst thing you could do. And even if you don't, it's just not being a good human being. Two people in a loving relationship should respect the things that they share together. These secrets are between you, and they should stay between you, irrespective of whether you are together or broken up with. Now, it's important for me to say that I'm not speaking about secrets which could be something which your ex-dumper needs to and deserves to get in trouble for. I'm not speaking about you keeping secrets of theirs which are actually illegal in what they have been doing. No, I'm talking about personal secrets, things you spoke about each other, the intimacy you shared. Those things are the secrets between you, and they should stay between you. You should not be spreading the word. Now, if you decide to do this, like I said, if you're feeling bitter, angry, frustrated, if you tell your friends, your family, your ex's friends, your ex's family, if you put it on socials, if you do this, do you really think your ex-dumper is going to take kindly to this? Bearing in mind what I said a moment ago, that often it's the dumpee that wants the dumper back, and yet they are doing these things which are definitely sabotaging that possibility. You love your ex, you want them back, but you're going to spread their secrets everywhere. It doesn't make much sense when you think logically, but of course, as a dumpee, your mindset is clouded and you aren't thinking logical. Now, if you do this, if you do tell their secrets to different people, your ex's mind will be blown. Because even though they've dumped you, even though they know and they acknowledge that they've hurt you, they didn't likely mean to. The vast majority of dumpers do not want to hurt their dumpees. The vast majority of dumpers do not want to cause pain, and they feel bad about what they've done. They didn't want to do this, they felt they had to do this. So they felt that what they had with you was personal and private and secret between you. They didn't think that you would then go spread the word because they believed in you, they trusted you. And even though you might be thinking, well, I trusted them, I trusted my dumper and they broke my heart, how on earth can they hold me to account? Well, your ex-dumper likely will. From speaking to many, many dumpers, it is clear to me that one of the things which blows their mind is when their dumpee spills the beans, tells the secrets, shares things which were just between those two people, the dumper and the dumpee, as partners in the relationship. The dumper didn't expect the dumpee to do this. And if you do this, if you act in a way where you spread secrets, even if they're completely true, but potentially even worse, if you twist it a bit and include a few lies, it is not going to help you get your ex back. It's likely to make your ex move further away from you. It might even get you into very serious trouble. Potentially, what you might be doing is even illegal. So please don't spread their secrets. Now, if you would like advice and support about how to try and increase the chance of one day getting your ex back, then you may want to consider my audio coaching service, where me and you can speak one-on-one about your unique specific situation. Go to my website www.dateme.tips for more information about how I can become your coach and your teammate via my audio coaching service. Talking about your feelings can also improve your mental health. It helps prevent the buildup of negative emotions, which can lead to stress, anxiety, depression, and even physical health issues. Speak your heart to free your mind. So now let's get into point number 3 and the final point of today's podcast. If you feel that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description. And point number 3 is that you do positive things that they don't expect. Now remember I said at the beginning of point number 2 that we were going to end on a positive note. Well, this positive note is about you dumpees doing something positive. So far in today's podcast, we spoke about things which would blow your ex's mind, which are not good. Things which won't help you. It will blow their mind, but in a bad way. Whereas point number 3 is if you blow their mind in this way, you will be increasing the chance of one day getting your ex back. And that is that you do positive things that they don't expect. So your ex-dumper believes that they know you inside and out. They believe that they know everything you're going to do on any given day. They think they have you all mapped out and all worked out. And this is the person, remember, that they don't feel they are compatible with. Sadly, right now, they don't feel compatible with you, the dumpee. The person that they think they know fully. And the reason why they think they know you fully is because they now have this bigger picture in their mind that you two going forward would just not work. And therefore, this is why it fits. But sadly, they don't believe you two can be together. So what can you do to increase your chance of getting your ex back? Well, one of the main things you can do is to try and flip the script what exactly your ex does know of you. Now this means that you need to be behaving in a way that they don't expect. Surprises can be something very powerful. Remember, they think they know you inside and out. They think you're not compatible. So if you start behaving in a way which they don't expect, then this will showcase you have moved through change. If you've moved through change, this might mean that you could be compatible. Because previously you weren't, but you're no longer the person that they dumped. And there is the key. You are no longer the person that they ended the relationship with. Therefore, you potentially could be a dateable option. Now, how can you do this? Well, as I said, you need to be changing things. You need to be behaving in a way that they don't expect. But it has to be positive. It might sound common sense, but if you start behaving in a way that didn't used to be your pattern, but it's worse, well, that isn't going to help your cause. You need to be behaving in a way which is unexpected, but the key here is that it's positive. So what can you do? Well, it depends somewhat on who you are as a person and who your ex is as a person and what you do with your life day to day. Now, I don't know through this generalized podcast who you actually are. You know, my demographics range from 18 to people in their 70s, both men and women. So there are various potential possibilities of who you could be as a person, where you are in your life, what activities you do, what represents you as a person. Now, if we spoke via my audio coaching service, obviously we could get more precise and specific about what could be the thing that could enhance your chances of reconnecting with your ex. But in a generalized sense, we need to think that it has to be something they don't expect, and it has to also be something positive. So look at your day each and every day. Consider your week plan. What do you do each day? What is your structure? Do you go to work each day? Okay, what is that work pattern? Right, where are the gaps? You will now have gaps. You are no longer in a relationship with your ex. That means there are some time gaps. Whether you were with your ex physically or whether you were speaking to them on the phone, you're not doing those things now. So you have chance, you have opportunity. There are things you could be doing in that time. And this is what we need to be filling with positive, unexpected things that your ex didn't see coming. If you can do this, they will be more inclined to believe that you have changed as a person and therefore someone that they might want to reconnect with. I've literally heard a dumper use the very words, "It blew my mind when I found out what my dumpee was doing." And in this respect, it was something that they never saw coming, which was that they joined an art class. So in this regard, the dumpee had never really shown any interest in art, no real interest in drawing or painting, anything like that. And yet the dumper found out months after their breakup that the dumpee had joined an art class. And it really, really confused them. Why is my dumpee joining this art class? I just don't get it. And after a while of seeing things posted on social media, being told by friends of friends that the dumpee was attending this art class, the dumper just couldn't really take it anymore. And when they saw a post on social media about the art class, they typed a comment. It was the first interaction that the dumper had instigated in a very long time. Now, that is just one example, and it might not fit in with your specifics, but you can see what I'm saying here. If you can intrigue your ex to the point where they want to reach out to you because they're so confused, they just don't see it coming about the great things you are doing, the changes you are making to your life, they can believe that if you're changing in one regard, you might be changing in other regards, and therefore you could become a dateable individual once more.